Perfect. Thanks everybody for taking the time to hop on here. I think Marcel, we saw your hand up first. So if you want to kick us off. Everybody.
Hey, sorry, I had to step outside. Is it too loud?
No, you're good.
All right. Hey, Josh, how you doing? Thanks for taking this time with us today.
Of course, yeah. Good to talk with you again, Marcel. It's been a while.
And I guess just for starters, obviously over the past couple of weeks, there's been so much activity about the social injustice going on in this country. I mean, we saw that you posted the Black Square on Instagram, but just wanted to know what it is, like what your stance on it is, on police brutality, on, like I said, the social injustice, and just want to give you an opportunity to, I guess, make your stance known.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I can't put myself in the shoes of being a Black person in America in regards to the social injustices that have been going on here. But what I have been doing is having conversations with teammates and trying to listen and trying to learn. And I've been in a position where I've never been pulled over and I've feared for my life. And I think that's a horrible thing that many, people of color that have to go through that. When they get pulled over, they're holding their breath. They're anxious. They don't know what's going on. And they're very fearful. And I don't think that's right. And that's, I mean, it's terrible beyond any words that you can kind of put it into. But, I've been having these conversations with teammates, trying to get a better understanding, asking what I can do, and trying to raise awareness, whether it be with my family, my friends around me, and just trying to have these open discussions in order to find a way to, help the situation out. And obviously there's not a whole lot that I can do or I can say because, again, I've never been in that position and I can't put myself in that position. So, but again, I'm willing to learn. We're going through it right now, and I think this country is going to, come out of this as a better country. And, we're going to continue to learn and grow. And as far as, racial injustice, I mean, there's no room for racism. At the end of the day, everybody kind of has their own opinion, but as people, we have our opinion and our rights to let them know that they're wrong at the end of the day. And, if they have there's just certain ways that we can go about it peacefully that continually make this country a better place.
Hey, Josh. John Worrell with the AP here. How you doing? Thanks for doing this.
Doing good. Good to see you. Got like the beard you got going on.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Shows my age. Looking at the leadership that you've shown in putting together these off-season workouts, first in California and then again in Florida. Dable and McDermott both saw you take strides and needing to grow into that, continuing to growing into that position and the leadership role that comes with it. How important, how valuable, was this off season in conducting those and putting those things together, and what did you get out of them, as a player and as a young team leader?
There was definitely pros and cons. Obviously, I'd much rather us be in Buffalo right now and meeting in person and being able to go on the field and do walkthroughs and get more familiar with guys and spend as much time as I can around them. So honestly, that's my favorite part about the offseason. That's my favorite part about training camp is just being able to spend, hours upon hours with our guys in our locker room, because I truly believe we've got one of the best locker rooms in the league, and that's a credit to our front office and to our coaching staff to kind of putting us on the right trajectory of what we're doing. But I just, it's been good as far as the leadership aspect goes and being able to talk to the likes of a guy like Peyton Manning and Brett Favre and try to pick their brain a little bit and see what I can take from them, from their instances. Peyton had a lot of similarities and parallels to the lockout, I think, of 2011 or whatever year it was. And I did gain a lot from that conversation with him, and I've just been trying to apply it the best way that I can.
And just as a follow-up, because you brought them up, how did you reach out to them, and what prompted that in you to, and maybe, I guess, how difficult was it to get a hold of them, or to get them to provide that advice?
Coach Dable had reached out to him, and they were able to jump in our Zoom calls, and we were super fortunate enough for them to share their opinions and share what they kind of figured out along the way of their NFL careers. And it's two of the most well-respected and two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So truly blessed to have those guys give us their input.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
All right, yeah, like I said, sorry about this wind, man. Just really had to step outside. But as a follow-up to my previous question, what kind of perspectives, what kind of things have you heard from your teammates, regarding the struggles that they've had to face growing up as Black men in America, and their thoughts on just everything that's going around?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, it's little things, man, like being pulled over and not feeling comfortable with the situation on hand, and for them to be driving and not know why they're being pulled over, not speeding, not running red lights, not any of that, but just in the perception of possibly their skin color is why they were flagged down. And then obviously the anxiousness that goes with it. There's been that. Obviously, there's been a lot of hurt, and I think guys have been very emotional about it. The guys that I've talked to, some on our team, some friends, some other players in the league, just the emotional hurt that they've had, and seeing what's going on social media and how everything has just been, out in broad daylight about everything. It's been very transparent now, and I think as we continue moving forward with social media, things are going to continue to be more transparent. I think that's a really good thing. I think it brings awareness to our situation here, and it's going to cause real change. And I do stand with the Black community, especially my teammates here, and I've got a lot of love for our guys. And myself, growing up in a predominantly Hispanic community, I didn't have many white friends growing up. They were mainly Hispanic, and being able to talk to even people from my hometown, just making sure that they're okay and what they're thinking about everything. But a lot of pain, a lot of hurt that's been going on, and I think it stems down even from their parents, and their parents not being very happy with the direction in this country, how it's been in the past 30, 40 years. They expected to see change, and I don't think they ever did. And I think that they want the best for their kids. And I think now that I'm talking to some of these players, and I think even Cole Beasley, what he said today was pretty, or was it yesterday? What he said was pretty amazing. He's a white man who's he's a father to 3 biracial children, and he knows that there's hurt, and he wants to do everything to protect his children. I think that's what everybody's trying to do, is just trying to create a better space for everybody to have equal opportunities, and to live the life that they've been granted, and to have all the same rights.
Hey Josh, Heather Prusak here with the CBS station here in Buffalo. Thanks for taking the time to do this. Hope you're staying safe and healthy. I want to go back to those workouts in Florida. How valuable was that to have that time with, especially the new guys like the rookies and Stefon Diggs, to start to build that chemistry with those guys, especially Diggs? Yeah,
it was great. And I obviously was anxious as well as anybody, and to meet Steph and to see kind of what he was about. And I played some video games with him prior and just kind of get a feel for his character. But I'll tell you, this man loves to work. He loves to get out in the field and run routes and talk to the guys and explain how he's running routes and explain what works for him to these young cats. And it was very, very awesome to see just the amount of detail that he puts into his craft, how communicative he was, how willing he was to learn. And he wasn't there for himself. He was there for the betterment of the team, and wanted to hang out with the guys and wanted to learn and get to know the guys. And I thought that was pretty special. When you hear all these crazy stories in the media, and I think that he's had a bad rap of where he's at. And I've gotten to see video after video of him mic'd up and just talking great things and talking, teamwork to the guys and just letting everybody know he's about the team. And I don't know, I was on Twitter a few minutes ago and I saw the Minneapolis Miracle, and just even the way the guys greeted him in the end zone. Obviously, there's a lot of hype, but he's a guy that everybody in the locker room is going to love. And for him to be, one, such an explosive player and a great player, and he's going to add a lot to our offense and a lot to our team. But two, he's going to be a great guy in the locker room that guys can look on, and he's going to be a leader for us too. And I think that he's going to mix very well in with John and Cole and the leadership that they have and the roles that they have. And it's going to be, I really think it's going to be a great thing.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, Josh, thanks for doing this. Appreciate the time. I think a lot of these rookies, especially on offense, are starting to realize how much Coach Dayball loves to FaceTime his own players. So first, how often does he FaceTime you, and what are those conversations like?
I mean, most of the time it's not even about football. He's just FaceTiming me. He's, whether it be on the golf course, he's in the backyard ready to jump in his pool. He just wants to know what we're doing. And, I consider Dable, coach first, obviously, but he's a friend. He really is. He loves his players. He cares about his players, and he's detective, I guess, over his guys. And he's gonna go to war for us, and it makes us want to go to war for him. And he's consistently been that way ever since I've known him. He's very open, and he expresses his feelings, and he'll say what's on his mind. And I think that's something that guys respect tremendously. And we've got his back and he's got ours, and we know that.
Is there a conversation that you remember just FaceTiming with him that was just maybe an odd one, or one from the golf course where he was ragging on you, or it was just a random conversation where it's just like, is this my offensive coordinator? Yeah.
Last week he got a new puppy, and it's this little 1-pound dog, and he's a bigger dude. And it's just funny that he was, recording or FaceTiming selfie style with the dog, and how little the dog was compared to him. So just little things like that. And he wants to let us know that, he's thinking about us and wants to keep us informed of what he's doing in his life. And, it really feels like family.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, Josh, hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. You talked about how you wanted to be with your teammates and you miss being with your teammates. And obviously this is kind of uncharted territory for you guys as players, even for us as media. Are there any advantages that you can take away from this offseason, or have you been able to find any of them?
My golf game's getting a little better. That'd be one of them. But no, as far as just being able to communicate with the guys, I know a lot of guys are taking this time to spend time with their family. That sometimes guys would be in Buffalo by themselves right now, and leaving their family at home base because just the travel times, and guys would be leaving Thursday night just to go spend 3 days with their family, come back Sunday. So I know that's a big thing that guys have really enjoyed with these virtual meetings. And but I do want to clarify, like, everybody would rather be in Buffalo and working out with each other and going on the field and trying to get ready for the season together. And it's been challenging just as far as finding places to work out and trying to stay in shape, and then trying to learn these meetings all by yourself over a screen. But I think the little breaks like in California and in Miami, that helps out, and it gives a guy a sense of feeling like we're not too far away now. We're getting closer, and we're still trying to set up maybe one more time that we get together and throw before we go back to Buffalo. And that's going to get kind of pushed in the works here. And we got one more week of virtual meetings. So we got to continue to take these meetings day by day and try to learn and execute as much as possible.
What's your handicap?
I shot 80 the other day for the first time. That's my best. I missed a 5-foot birdie putt. Would have pushed me into the 70s for the first time. But I'm probably like a 14 right now, and but my swing is looking good. I've tweaked a few things.
Love it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Ooh.
Hey, Joe.
Good to see you. Got me? Oh, you muted?
Hey, sorry about that,
There
Josh.
we go.
Josh
You're
Reed with the CBS station. My bad.
No, you're good.
You just kind of mentioned briefly there about the virtual meetings. How have those been going? Can you briefly kind of give us an overview of what you think about them and how they've been going and kind of what it looks like behind the curtain?
Yeah, I mean, we've been experiencing some technical difficulties, just like what you just had. Just sometimes being a meet. Like we were in a meeting yesterday, and we were going over the whiteboard, and I'm supposed to be calling the plays and giving cadence. And 20 minutes later, I get a text from Pat DeMarco like, "Hey, are you in this thing?" And I look down, and I have to open it up, and I was unmuted the whole time. So missed out on a good 20 minutes to talk about some plays, but we'll make it up eventually. And I had Dable in this year, and he's trying to relay me plays so I can pass along to these guys. And we're still figuring out some of the kinks, but it's been good. And it's just guys are attentive in these meetings, and they know it's only a couple hours out of the day, so they're trying to get the most out of it.
Just to clarify real quick, if I make sure I understand you right, so I report it correctly. So you'll Dable in your ear telling you a play, and then you relay it to everyone else?
Yeah, so I have like a 3-part system over here. I got my phone, which Dable's on the phone, and I got my earpiece in. I got the iPad so I can Zoom, or whiteboard, and then I had my laptop to be on the Zoom. So that's how I communicate with the guys, and we draw on the whiteboard, and we can all do it that way. So it was pretty intricate for what we were doing.
Awesome. Stay safe. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, Josh, John Scott here from Spectrum News. It's good to see you. But
Good to see you too.
in eight, I broke 90.
Yeah, let's say you
time
look
ever
like you're
yesterday.
golfing right now.
This was yesterday, but yeah, not as good today. But yeah, just wanted to know mechanics-wise on the field, what are some of the things that you've been working on? What have your interactions been? I assume back with Jordan Palmer out in California, and what's the next step that you're really focusing on this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's been about a month and a half since I've actually thrown with Jordan. I've been kind of bouncing around from my parents and my sister's house and just trying to find a spot to stay during these times. But I'll be back with him next week. So, but I've been throwing down in Fresno and obviously Miami, and just working on kind of a different. I wouldn't say different mechanics per se, but I'm definitely tightening them up. And I got a chance to talk to Tony Romo at the Super Bowl, and we talked a lot about mechanics and just being a thrower. And I think that what he kind of gave me, I've been taking I've taken it in stride, and I've been applying it to the field, and I think it's been working out. In Miami, I feel like it's the best I've ever thrown. Just kind of keeping my head a little stiller, keeping my left arm tighter, and kind of rotating my body around an axis. And it's been paying off, and I think that to continue to work on that, obviously there's going to be ups and downs and trying to change arm slots and, within the flow of the game and guys rushing at you, and that's kind of hard to emulate in the off season. But I feel good where I'm at right now, and I'm still going to continue to work on it and try to continue to get better with what I'm working on right now.
If I may follow up quickly, how far do you think you've come from rookie minicamp to now in regards to your mechanics?
I really do think it's night and day. I think that even going back to last year, there's a few times where just and that'd be because I feel big pressure. I feel something at my feet, and it's to be more vertical instead of kind of in between. So been tweaking some things, and Still trying to have a high release. It's going along pretty nicely right now. You got me?
Yeah,
Hey,
there
Josh.
was a request to
Go ahead,
to
Josh.
repeat that. Yeah, there was a request to repeat that answer because it was good, but you were breaking up with the signal.
Gotcha. What was the question that you wanted me to answer again?
The one about the strides that you've taken from rookie minicamp to now in regards to your mechanics.
Gotcha. I feel like it's kind of night and day. I think that even going back to last year and just seeing some of the bad habits that would show up and the mistakes that I'm just like, man, why am I doing this? I'm slowing some things down, trying to let my hip go first, trying to correct some things at the top and trying to stay kind of on the same axis, same plane here. And it's been paying dividends, and we're going to continue to work on it.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Josh, thanks for taking the time as always here. The mantra, obviously, from Brandon and Sean has been, the offense needs to score more points going forward. Do you feel like this offense is more equipped to do that now going into this season? And if so, why?
Well, I would say yes, if you look at it, because of, me being in year 3 in the same system, having such a good rapport with Coach Dable, kind of knowing what we do and what we don't like. I think if you look at our pieces like Dawson Knox and Motor, they're going into their second year in the same system. They had a lot of success last year as rookies, and they're only going to continue to get better. The addition of Steph, an elite playmaker that's going to do some great things for us. And then John and Cole now, I think, are going to have even more opportunities with Steph out there, and defenses going to have to kind of pay more attention to what else we got on the field. And I think we're going to continue to work hard. I think that all the guys in this offense, and I can go down the line from vet to rookie, these guys want to work, and we've been continuing to do that, wanting to learn, and we've got a lot of stuff going in right now. And the install stuff is not easy, but, our guys have been paying really hard attention, and they've been going through their stuff by themselves. They've been calling each other and going over it with each other. And then we went down to obviously Miami. We were calling plays, and we were running plays, and we were running some of our stuff that we're going to do in the season. The way that you learn virtually, it takes a second to hit your brain and then apply it to the field. So, when we get back, it's going to take some time. But I definitely think that we're on a good track right now, and we're going to continue to keep on climbing.
Perfect. Thanks, Josh.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, Josh, Sal Capaccio here, WGR. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Sal. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Hope your family and Brittany are all doing well as well.
Thank you.
When we spoke with you the day after the Houston playoff loss, your quote was, "I won't be over this until we start playing again." So a two-part question. Where are you as far as getting past that, thinking about it too much, balancing, knowing how close you guys were, but also not letting it weigh you down? But also, what did you learn from, going back and thinking about the first time that you were in that situation in the playoffs as a pro quarterback?
Yeah. Well, to answer your first question, I was talking about it last night, so I'm definitely not over it. And I know that we had opportunities to win that game, and it very easily could have swayed the other direction. So, that's something that continues to drive me, and knowing that I could have played better and I could have done more and I could have eliminated a mistake here or there that could have been super easy to eliminate and given us a better chance to win that game. But that's exactly what I learned. I learned that you can't force things to happen. After watching a lot of tape, we've been watching a lot of Drew Brees, a lot of Tom Brady, a lot of Aaron Rodgers, a lot of Russell Wilson. Especially late in the game, they're not trying to force things. They're still taking what the defense gives them. They're continuing to take checkdowns. They're doing the right thing and making the right play. And that's something I got to continue to incorporate and continue to learn, and not be I guess, eager to make plays in situations that call for me to make plays. I got to continue to let things through it and let the game come to me. And I think most importantly, I think having a home playoff game, I think that is something that we need. That comes with winning the division. We're going to take that one game at a time. And everybody wants to talk about the Dolphins and the Jets. But last time I checked, it was the Patriots who, have won the last 19 out of 20 or whatever it is. So we got to continue to keep working hard. And again, we're focusing on week 1 right now, and that's the Jets. And we're going to take it one day at a time, and it's going to be a tough division to go in there and play and to go in there and win. But we got the guys and the makeup for this team to put our heads and try to go do this thing.
Thanks, Josh. Hope to see you in Buffalo soon.
Yep. Same here.
Josh, how's it going, man? Mookie Hawkins, well,
Good to
Sports
see you, Mook. How
today,
you
man.
doing,
How
man?
you in? Good? I'm all right, man. I'm hanging in there, man. I'm just quarantining, man. But last year, we had this conversation on last year we were going to win a lot of games, and you held up to that. We won a lot of games, and so what are some of the things that you need to prove on to make yourself a better quarterback for this team, and what will make the Bills a top 10 offense this year?
Well, top 10 offense, I think, we got to score more points. If we can score 24, 25, and keep that as our average, and knowing that our defense is going to take care of business like they have been the last couple of years, limiting the turnovers, not letting teams come back and because I forced a turnover, not letting them get the ball in our field position and giving them points, and playing complementary football. And, I've got personal goals set out for myself, and I keep seeing a stat, when I complete over 60% of passes, we haven't lost. So I think that's the goal, is every game to have at least 60% completion percentage. And but again, I'm not going to try to force things, and I'm not going to be captain check down either. I'm going to continue to try to play the game the way that I love it, that I have fun with, but ultimately the way that this team needs me to play it, and that's to win the game. Whatever case it may be, if it's trying to run for an extra 3 yards to get a first down in a needed situation, or if it's to throw for 50 times a game and try to get to our playmakers, that's all I really want, is to win football games. So whatever is called upon me in that situation is what I'm going to try to execute.
Appreciate it, man. I think you're right on time. So, man, I wish you well. Can't wait to see you. You and the family stay safe, man.
Hey, Josh, Mike Giardi from NFL Network. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Hey, a couple questions for you. One, what video games were you playing with Diggs? Was it Madden? Were you guys on the Bills together, or you playing some other game?
No, we're playing Call of Duty, mostly Warzone.
Everybody seems to be in that. I think I see Odell on that at all times.
I can't stop playing it.
My other question for you is, could you take us back to how you got everyone together? I mean, we saw the picture, 19 guys in Florida. That obviously takes a lot to make that happen. If you could just kind of take us through the process of getting everybody in one place at one time to be able to do what you did.
Well, to be honest, it was a complete group effort, and I had ran it by the quarterback group first, and just to make sure that was a weekend everybody can make it. And then two, it was reaching out to all the guys and making sure that they knew and they were able to get out there. And you saw how many guys were out there. It was a great turnout. And three, there's an aspect of also as far as my agent goes, and I'm calling them to see what we can do for hotel rooms and trying to get blocks of rooms together so everybody's got a place to stay, and having Davis and Matt and myself rent a car so that we have enough transportation for everybody to and from the field and to the hotel, and finding out dinner plans and everything like that. So it took a lot of us, and I'm fortunate that we got the group that we do, that we're such a young and eager group to get to work. And then we got guys like, John and Cole and Steph, and guys that just want to work, and didn't have to come out. And I wasn't forcing anybody to get out there, but the fact that everybody wanted to get out just shows how eager we are to get out for the season.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Hey Josh, it's Matt Fairburn. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Doing well, doing well. I'm curious, given the experience you had the night before the draft with the tweets and everything, what your words of maybe advice or anything conversations you might have had with Jake Fromm with what happened with him last week.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't talk to him too much about it. I sent him a text, said, "I love you. I'm here for you if you need anything." And he owned up to his mistakes and he talked to the team. And if anybody had any questions about him, they went and they asked him. They asked him directly. And it's a shame that happened. And it's on both parts. The one first that he said it to, that it got out there, and I think he was extremely sorry and regretful and super hurt by it, and he didn't mean to cause anybody any pain. And I think the guys responded very well to him, and I think that it's still going to be a hill that he's going to continue to climb with the guys in the locker room. And going back to 2018 when I got drafted, my mindset was to get in the locker room and show them who I really was as a person. And I can say without a doubt, guys know who I am now. And I definitely think it's going to take time. But at the same time, we learn and we grow as we get older. We see different things, and we meet different people that kind of open your eyes and change your mind about different things. And and I'm just excited that we're going to be back in our locker room with our guys, and guys are going to get to know each other a little bit more, and we'll go from there.
Along those lines, what have you learned maybe about racism and the struggle that the Black community goes through since 2018, when all that happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you see it when we travel to different places. It's not fair. Somebody's some color that they're treated a little differently. But as far as the guys that we have in our locker room, we're a unified group, and we're able to talk about different things. We're able to explain different things. And, as we see, I'm new to this business still. It's going into my third year, but you see guys, leaving and going to different teams, and just trying to stay in contact with them, let them know that, you still care about them, and they still care about you. I text Jordan Phillips every once in a while, and Shaq Lawson every once in a while, and just to see what they're up to and how they're doing. That's kind of microcosm of the NFL. You got guys from different types of backgrounds and places and races and ethnicities and different upbringings, different backgrounds. It's all kind of a melting pot, and that's what I love about this this league so much, that you experience so much, you learn so much from different people, and you feel like you kind of grew up with these guys, because every locker room's kind of the same, from high school to college to the NFL. It's just a bunch of guys from, like I said, different places that are trying to pull together to do one thing. And I think, I think the world can learn a lot from, studying the ins and outs of a football locker room.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Hey, Josh, Jay with the Buffalo News. Hope you're doing well.
And you.
In regards to Stefon Diggs, obviously, his acquisition is probably the biggest move you guys have made this offseason. And you and him getting on the same page in the chemistry is going to be sort of a big factor for the offensive success. And obviously, you're not able to throw with him nearly as much, given everything that's going on, as you might have in a different offseason. What will the challenge be, when you guys are able to report to training camp, to make sure you're as up to speed as possible for week one?
I mean, the challenge is just going to be the comfortability, understanding his routes, when he's going to break them, his body language. But that'll come with over time. And I think kind of me and Cole went through that last year. We didn't have the offseason together, and we got to training camp, and it was just a couple tweaks here or there, just understanding how low he gets in some of his cuts and how quick he gets out of them, and knowing where to place the ball for him. And I think that's going to be the same struggle that I had with Steph, or that I'm going to have with Steph. But I think it's going to be cleared up, really as soon as we start getting out there and start throwing the ball. It won't take much time, in my opinion.
And then to follow up, you mentioned a goal of the team being to have a home playoff game. How much have you paid attention to the uncertainty about the possibility of games being played with either limited or even potentially no fans in attendance? And what would the impact for this team be, given that you do enjoy a pretty good home field advantage here in Buffalo? It's a big part of the experience of playing in Buffalo. How much thought have you given that?
I mean, I've given a lot of thought. It's going to be tough. There's going to be pros and cons of the situation as well. Like when you're a road team, you're going to be able to go there and going to be able to communicate, and the crowd noise really is going to be a factor. But that's why home games are so crucial. To have that noise and to have your third down defense be out there and it's just going to be a different type of mentality now. We know we're not going to be able to have that potentially. The fans play a big part in the game. They're able to shift and tilt the mojo in the stadium sometimes. So we'll see. It's going to be a learning curve, and I think it's going to feel like Pop Warner again with only parents in the stands, and maybe at the same time they'll be nostalgic for some of the guys and just be back down to football and really playing the game for the love of it.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, Josh, Tim Graham here. Hope you're doing well. You seem to be doing all right. Looking healthy. Buffalo is your adopted hometown, and a lot has been happening here over the last couple of weeks. What's your opinion on what you've been seeing taking place here in Buffalo with the protests and the police being in the news?
Yeah, it's been very sad to see. Obviously, you've seen a couple different videos. One, the elderly man getting pushed down, and I did see that most of that police emergency team had resigned from their positions on that team, rightfully so. I don't think that should ever happen. Two, you do see the other side. You see, two cops being ran over, and that's not the way to do it either. And there's a couple more videos that you can throw on each side, and it's sad to see. Buffalo's the city of good neighbors. That's what we're known for, and we got to continue to keep loving on each other and showing each other our best selves that we can, and to continue to push that way and make changes for the right. But I'm standing with our mayor, and as a Black American, I think he's going about it the right way and trying to unify the city. So that's what I'm doing.
I think there are people who have a certain age. I hate to use ageism here on some of the younger people watching, but as somebody who's almost 50, and I don't want to call anybody out, maybe there'll be some emphatic shaking of the head or shaking no if they disagree with me, feel free. But this really does seem like a time in our history that we'll look back on where things have changed, a sea change, similar, probably not dissimilar to 9/11, where people are going to think differently moving forward. Now, as you're a young quarterback, but as a captain, face of the franchise, what are your thoughts on taking on, maybe you have to take on a greater role and not just be a quarterback of a football team and being more of a leader in more than what we see on the football field?
I feel like I am a leader more than just the football team, in regards to being a leader with my family and, my community out here in Fireball and Fresno as well, and trying to do things the right way and trying to treat people with the right amount of respect that they deserve. And, just that's basically what I'm trying to do, is trying to be a good person, with everybody that I meet. And I feel that if you would ask anybody, I would hope that they'd give the same answer, that he's the same with everybody. And, it's definitely a different time, like you said, and we're going to learn from these moments. And I think that we're going to grow as a country from this and be a better place after it's all said and done. So again, I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm a young kid, and I want to grow, and I want to learn from everybody in our locker room and hear their stories and understand what I can do to help, and not only take that information from these guys and then apply it to my family and my community over out here in, California as well as Buffalo, and just try to spread positivity in each and every way that I can.
And real quick follow-up, if I can. You mentioned a lot of these quarterbacks that you've learned from regarding mechanics. What maybe have you learned from Drew Brees over the last week or so? Here's a guy who Walter Payton Man of the Year, has a lot of credibility in the community, and just like that, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. What did you learn from Drew Brees?
I think it's just being informed before you might say something. And I don't think in any way that he was trying to demean anybody or trying to downplay the situation. He was saying what he felt. And but again, being completely informed on what you're talking about before you talk about it. And again, that would help not rub anybody the wrong way. And I think that he's trying to make amends and trying to make reparations in that aspect. And I'm sure he had some long conversations with his teammates, behind closed doors, and they seem to have accepted his apology. But again, it's going to be it's a new time, and it's a learning time for everybody, I think, in this country. And there's going to be aches and pains along the way, and we had to continue to push through it. And like I said, continue to reach out and spread positivity and love one another.
Thank you, Josh.
What's up, Josh? Matt Perino from Syracuse.com. Thanks so much for taking the time today.
Yep, thank you.
Real quick, you mentioned continuity, and that's, been one of the talking points, not only this offseason, but last offseason. I mean, spending the kind of time, with the coaching staff and having Brian for, your third straight season. What does that actually look like when you break down the tape from last season and look ahead to this year? What does that look like in terms of results on the field?
Wait, sorry, say that again. You're breaking up a little bit.
Sorry about that. So, one of the big talking points, you mentioned it earlier, was, the continuity, not only within the coaching staff, but now within the offense, with Cole and Dawson and Devin and John. What does that look like in terms of more production or scoring more points? I mean, what are some examples of where you could take your game, where maybe you struggled at times last year, and be better in 2020?
Well, I definitely think, for one, just knowing the offense, knowing your players, I think that's going to help out. And with Dawson and Devin being in year two, just understanding their body language, understanding where they like the ball being thrown to, understanding what concepts that they're really good on and they can excel in. Two, it's film work. It's understanding what matchups that you can find and you can try to exploit. And that's going to be, a big process for us. If teams decide to play us man, trying to find the best matchup. If teams are going to play back and try to play a too high shell and trying to find the easy completion underneath. And when the big play presents itself, obviously we want to capitalize on it. So, again, that continuity is huge. Just the fact that guys know what they're doing. They know what spots they need to be in. We understand what concepts, I like to run, but more importantly, what our receivers can run to a better level.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody.